8 years in primary school, 4 years in high school, almost 12 years. They finish, they cannot speak English well. Is it that problem? Can we ask ourselves, what's the problem? Exactly. The problem initially came from three basic areas. You can study English even without a teacher, without a classroom. You need to understand what guidelines, what tips that can help you to improve your English, to improve your speaking, to improve your understanding, your listening, to improve your writing and reading. They are four basic fundamental skills of the English. The language must start listening, right? When the baby born, they understand a language? That's my question. They know the language? No, they don't understand a language. But at the same time, the child is starting listening. So that's what I mean. Learn a language like a baby. You need to listen a lot and a lot and a lot, as much as you can. I promise you, few months later, you will see how your English has improved. Always don't worry about your mistakes. Because people say, okay, I'm not going to speak, I don't want to speak English because if I speak English, I'm afraid to make a mistake and people love me. Don't worry whether the people love you or not. Okay, don't worry about your grammar rules. This is a common problem we have. Assalamu alaikum, welcome. So many years till today, I have been receiving so many comments, recommendations and suggestions from my students around the world to start the English course. Every subject has some etiquettes, manners, guidelines and procedures that you need to understand before you go to study that particular subject in order to become a master for that particular course. My name is Dhamaan, English and computer science teacher from aflaxcomputer.com. So many years I have been teaching some universities in Somalia. And as usual, every semester we were receiving so many students graduating from high schools and joining to the universities. These students are well organized, well educated, but the problem is these students cannot speak English well. They cannot understand English well. And imagine they from English orientation schools. They from English system schools. 8 years in primary school. 4 years in high school, almost 12 years. 12 years of English system. They finish. They cannot speak English well. Is it that problem? It's a really big problem. It's a common problem we have some countries in Africa, especially in Somalia. Forget about the skill. They go through almost 4 years, 5 years throughout the university. They finish the university, but some of them still they cannot speak English well. That's why they got so stressed, so distressed, so annoying, so upset and frustrated. Some of them they lost the hope and they give up and say, no, I'm not able to learn English. It's so hard, it's so difficult, it's so challenging, it's so confusing. I need to go to somewhere in UK or America in order to learn English. I must be environment of spoken English in order to learn English. This is what the people saying all the time. But the reality is different. Why are they saying this? Because almost 12 years, 15 years of English system all the way to the university, but still the people cannot understand English. They cannot speak English well. So, can we ask ourselves, what's the problem? The problem initially came from three basic areas. The one from the system, our traditional system we use when we teach in English. The one from the teacher, the way our teachers teach English. And one from the student, you people, the way you learn English. Why I'm saying this one? Because you, the people, as a student, you can study English even without a teacher, without a classrooms. You need to understand what guidelines, what tips that can help you to improve your English, to improve your speaking, to improve your understanding, your listening, to improve your writing and reading. So talking about English, I always use a circle here, and we put two lines, one horizontal and one vertical, and as you can see, the circle now become the 4 sections. So what are they? They are 4 basic fundamental skills of the English. The first one is the listening. Second is speaking, reading and writing. So the order is the most important to become a master in your English. First, not only English but any other language. First, you need to start listening, then speaking, then reading, and the writing will be the last. But our traditional system, when we teach in English, where we start? That's my question. We start writing, then reading, then speaking, completely opposite direction, and that's one of the reasons that your English has not improved. Now, every section occupy the percentage of 25. So first section, listening, is 25%. The second one going to be 25%. The third is 25%, and the last one is 25%. And now you go somewhere under the circle and you calculate it. 25 plus 25 plus 25 plus 25 is going to be 100. What's 100? 100 means English, full English. That means you know the 4 basic skills. You know everything. You can speak, you can understand, you can write and read. Then you have a full English. Sometimes in Somalia, you can see some people say, okay, I can read English and I can write English, but I cannot speak English well. And I cannot understand, the listening. I cannot understand, the native speakers or the news and someone who is speaking English. You know the problem? Because you have done 2 sections, now you are 50%, and 50% remain to go. Simple as that. Maybe you see someone say, okay, I can understand English when the people speaking, but I cannot speak. I cannot read and write. That means you are 25%. 75% remain to go. So this is what English is all about. So in this video, I'm not going to talk about all 4 sections, but I know most of Somali students, those who are from Somalia or in Somalia, the most problem is not reading and writing. Most of the people, they can read English and they can write, but the main problem is speaking and listening, the understanding. So let's talk about the listening. Listening, as I already mentioned, the language must start listening, right? So listening, talk about listening, I'm going to show you some tips. Okay, the first tip says learn English, learn language like a baby, like a children, like a kid. So the question is, how the children learn a language? Okay, assume as an adult, when we go to somewhere in school or classrooms, we have a problem, especially when you're a beginner. And for example, the common problem we have is the vocabularies, for example. Okay, when you go to the school, maybe you try to read something, maybe you notice your newspapers, books, whichever, you try to read something, but the first paragraph, you find 3 new words, 3 new vocabularies that you don't know their meaning. The second paragraph, you find 2 words that you don't know their meaning. The third, 2 words, 4 words. So the problem is, if you don't understand the 3 words in the first paragraph, it's hard to understand the first paragraph. If you don't understand the first paragraph, it's hard to understand the second and all the way to the whole page. If you don't understand the whole page, it's very hard to understand the whole chapter. This is a common and the problem we have. So to solve that problem, normally what we do, maybe first of all you try to guess the meaning of the word in the statement, but if you can't, there are two things come to your mind to solve that particular problem. What's this? Number one, to ask someone or to check a dictionary. To ask someone, maybe your teacher, your brother, your classmate, your friend, you someone, okay? And you say, okay, please tell me the meaning of this word. Or as usually we do, you check a dictionary, check a dictionary, the meaning of those words. But let's go back to the baby. When the baby born, they understand a language? That's my question. They know the language? No, they don't understand a language. They don't know any other language. The only language the child know is cry. Cry means communication. The child, anytime for us, we are so angry. We feel so bad when the child crying. We say, what's this kind of child crying all the time? But the cry means is speaking. The child, the only language child knows is a cry. The child is speaking to you, either complaining or needs something. So don't be panic. Listen a child. That's why, mashallah, when the child cry, the mother come to the child and check up. What's the problem? Do you feel hot? Do you feel cold? Do you need a milk? And the child come down and stop crying, because the problem has solved. So what I mean is, the only language of the child is to cry, to communicate. But at the same time, the child is starting listening. For example, you people, all the time, you speak to the child, you talk to the child. Maybe you are mother, father, brother, sisters, any other members of the family. All the time we speak to the child. Hey child, how are you? How do you feel? What's your name? And you don't care whether the child responds or not, but the child is just looking your face. While looking your face, the child listening. He or she listening to you, and you talk all the day and night to the child without waiting his or her response. Maybe sometimes the mother song to the child, talk to the child all the day. The child just looking your face. That means listening, recording. After 2 years or 3 years, the child is starting to speak. The child is speaking correct language, correct word, correct pronunciation, correct grammar. And imagine the child didn't ask anyone for the meaning of the new words. And also, they didn't check the dictionary. Oh my God, it's so tremendous. It's so amazing. The child just listening, and then the old words, grammar rules, and everything, they come out correct. So that's what I mean. Learn a language like a baby. Let me tell you one story. It's so funny. So many years ago, I met one of the Somali sisters. She speaks Hindi language. And I was wondering. I would say, okay, are you from India? She said, no, I never been there. How do you study this language? She told me a very funny story. Please don't do this one. It's so bad. Okay. She told me that she likes, Hindi movies. And she told me that last couple of years, she was watching those movies, all the time she was watching. And then 2 or 3 years, she got herself speaking that language correctly. She's speaking correct word, correct pronunciation, correct grammar, correct language. She already took diploma in front of TV of Hindi language, So what I mean is the importance of the listening. So what you listening and how do you listen? Okay, what you're going to listen, you need to listen a lot and a lot and a lot, as much as you can. If you go to the internet, you can type English listening courses or English listening audios or the English news. You can listen in YouTube. You can find out a lot of material that can help you. Forget about all these things in your phone. Go to Play stores, App stores, somewhere. You type English listening, and you find hundreds and thousands of apps of English listening, which can help you, anywhere you are, in your work, in your street, in your home, and you can listen all the time. So listen and listen and listen and listen as much as you can. Maybe 30 times a week, 50 times a month, 100 times a month. I promise you, few months later, you will see how your English has improved. During a course, every lesson will be a section of listening. The third tip, which is important in listening, is that always listen interesting stories and audios. Don't listen boring stories, because if you listen all the time boring stories, if you become bored and you left it. So try all the time to listen something interesting, something motivating, something talk about good culture or good things, or joke sometimes, something that motivates you to continue listening for that particular. The second thing, I'm going to show you how to improve your speaking. Let's take two things, only two tips. If you use these two tips, your speaking will improve. First one is, don't worry about your mistakes. This is a very powerful and very important tip. Always don't worry about your mistakes. Because people say, okay, I don't want to speak English, because if I speak English, I'm afraid to make a mistake and people love me. Don't worry whether the people love you or not. Try to, go back to the baby. The first time the baby starts a language, they speak correct words? No. Maybe the simple one is abe and hoy. Those words are the simple. Even the first time they don't say the correct pronunciation, but day by day, gradually, they correct words themselves. So that means first time you have to make mistake, and everyone made a mistake. This is not the Holy Quran that we preserve all from errors. This is just in English. You cannot make a mistake. You are not a sinner. You are not a sinner. You made an English mistake, you don't need to repent to Allah. This is just a language. And the more you made a mistake, in fact, the more you learn from that particular. So, always say something. Don't worry about your mistake. One thing is important, to decrease, eliminate, and avoid your errors and mistakes. That's very important, but that one will come automatically. When you speak English and made a mistake, day by day, your mistake gradually decreases all the way to finish one day. So please, don't worry about your mistake. The second tip of improving your speaking says, don't worry about your grammar rules. This is a common problem we have. Maybe someone asks you a question. What are you doing there? And then to answer that particular question, you think about, okay, to answer that question, am I using simple present, or am I using simple past, or future, or present continuous tense, or present perfect? All the time, you think about the grammar rules. And that's why you hesitate a lot and speak English so slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly. It's very difficult to remember all grammar rules at the same time. But also, it gradually improves. So all the time, let's go back again to the baby. When the baby speaks, they think about the grammar rules? No. So please don't think about your grammar rules. When you're speaking or someone asks a question, try to say something. Anything come to your mind, maybe 1 word, 2 words, 3 words, close statement, phrase, whichever. Try to say something. Maybe your speaker can help you, your teacher can help you, the community can help you, even yourself. You realize your mistakes, and day by day your mistakes will decrease, not increase. The time you think about the grammar rules, that's why you speak English so slowly. So important of this course is not only to teach you English, but also I'm going to give you so many guidelines to make you to speak English so easily, so quickly, so fast, and automatically, without thinking about the grammar rules, without thinking about your mistakes, without thinking about and whatsoever. During this course, the course will be 3 levels. Level 1, which is a beginner, level 2, which is intermediate, and level 3, advanced English level. First, we're going to start level 1, which is a beginner. Then we'll learn level 2, and level 3 come after level 2. Marka maxaad sugin? Let's start. Go.